They fed armies, healed villages, and gave strength to farmers who worked from dawn till dusk. Yet today, most of us don't even know their names. Imagine 10 forgotten superfoods, plants so powerful that medieval farmers swore by them, trusted them for survival, and passed their secrets through generations. And here's the twist: they still grow today, hidden in plain sight, waiting to be rediscovered. Welcome to Forgotten Leaf Secrets. In this journey, we'll uncover 10 ancient superfoods that history buried, but nature preserved, foods stronger than spinach, richer than grains, and more miraculous than medicine itself. Our first forgotten superfood takes us back to the medieval farmlands of Europe, a humble green that once stood taller than spinach in both strength and reputation. This was lamb's quarters, known to farmers as the poor man's spinach. But don't let the name fool you. Packed with iron, calcium, and protein, it was a powerhouse that fueled peasants through endless days of labor. Its leaves were boiled into stews, baked into breads, and eaten raw in the fields, giving farmers the stamina to survive harsh seasons. Medieval healers swore by it too. They used its seeds to calm stomach ailments, its leaves to soothe fevers, and its roots in tonics for strength. To the common folk, lamb's quarters was more than food, it was survival. And here's the twist: this superfood still grows today, often dismissed as a weed in backyards and fields. Yet hidden in plain sight, it carries the same nutrients that once kept entire villages alive. Forgotten by history, but waiting for rediscovery. Our second forgotten superfood was once the pride of medieval fields, a grain so resilient that farmers called it the grain of survival. This was millet, a tiny seed with enormous power. Long before rice and wheat dominated the table, millet was the staple that kept villages alive. Its golden kernels thrived in poor soil, endured droughts, and grew where other crops failed. For medieval farmers, it was the difference between famine and survival. Millet was ground into flour for breads, boiled into porridges, and brewed into drinks that fueled workers through endless days of toil. Rich in magnesium, iron, and protein, it strengthened bones, calmed nerves, and gave stamina to those who labored under the sun. Healers praised it as medicine too. Its porridge was fed to the sick, its flour used to soothe digestion, and its resilience became a symbol of endurance itself. To the medieval farmer, millet was not just food, it was a shield against hunger. And here's the twist: millet still grows today, often overlooked in favor of modern grains. Yet hidden in plain sight, it remains one of the most nutrient-dense, climate-resilient foods on Earth, a forgotten superfood waiting to reclaim its place at our tables. Our third forgotten superfood was once the secret weapon of medieval farmers, a root so tough it thrived in poor soil, and so nourishing it became the backbone of survival. This was parsnip, the pale cousin of the carrot, but far more valued in the Middle Ages. Long before the potato arrived in Europe, parsnips were the staple that filled bowls, fueled armies, and kept families alive through brutal winters. Its sweet, earthy flavor made it a favorite in stews and roasts, while its starch provided the energy farmers needed for endless days of labor. Rich in fiber, potassium, and folate, parsnips strengthened the heart, calmed the nerves, and gave resilience to bodies worn down by toil. Healers praised it too. They used parsnip tonics to ease kidney troubles, its seeds to calm fevers, and its roots as a gentle medicine for digestion. To medieval farmers, this humble root was not just food, it was a lifeline. And here's the twist: parsnips still grow today, often overshadowed by carrots and potatoes. Yet hidden in plain sight, they remain one of the most nutrient-dense, climate-resilient foods, a forgotten superfood that once kept civilizations alive. Our fourth forgotten superfood was once the silent guardian of medieval farms, a hardy legume that nourished both soil and people and became the secret strength behind survival. This was fava beans, known in the Middle Ages as the farmer's meat. Long before protein powders and supplements, fava beans delivered strength in their simplest form. Rich in iron, fiber, and plant protein, they fueled peasants through endless days of plowing, harvesting, and building. Medieval farmers relied on them not only as food, but as a cycle of life. Fava beans restored fertility to the soil, allowing fields to thrive year after year. They were planted after wheat and barley, breathing nitrogen back into the earth, ensuring that harvests would not fail. In this way, fava beans were more than a crop. They were guardians of the land itself. In kitchens, they were boiled into hearty stews, mashed into spreads, and roasted for long journeys. Their dense nutrition made them a staple for armies on the march, and their resilience meant they could be stored through harsh winters when other foods ran scarce. Healers praised them too. Fava beans were believed to strengthen blood, calm fevers, and restore energy to the weak. Some even claimed they carried mystical powers, protecting families from famine and misfortune. And here's the twist: fava beans still grow today, often overlooked in favor of modern legumes. Yet hidden in plain sight, they remain one of the most nutrient-dense, soil-restoring foods on Earth. A forgotten superfood that once sustained medieval farmers and still holds the power to nourish us now. Our fifth forgotten superfood was once the quiet strength of medieval diets, a seed so small it could be carried in a pouch, yet so powerful it sustained entire families. This was flaxseed, known to medieval farmers as the seed of life. Long before modern nutritionists praised omega-3 south, medieval healers already understood its power. They ground flax into flour, stirred it into porridges, and pressed it into oils that nourished both body and spirit. Its oil was treasured, used not only for cooking, but for healing wounds, soothing skin, and strengthening the heart. Its seeds were fed to the sick, believed to calm fevers and restore energy, and its fiber was woven into linen, clothing peasants and kings alike. Flax was more than food; it was medicine, fabric, and survival rolled into one. Farmers swore by it during harsh winters. A handful of flaxseed could be mixed into bread to stretch supplies, its dense nutrition keeping hunger at bay. Rich in protein, fiber, and essential fatty acids, it gave stamina to workers who labored from dawn till dusk. And here's the twist: flaxseed still grows today, often hidden in health stores or dismissed as bird food. Yet it remains one of the most nutrient-dense plants on Earth, a forgotten superfood that medieval farmers trusted. And modern science now confirms. Our sixth forgotten superfood was once the silent strength of medieval kitchens, a leafy green so common it grew along roadsides, yet so powerful it was trusted by farmers, healers, and soldiers alike. This was nettle, the stinging plant most of us avoid today. But in the Middle Ages, it was a miracle. Farmers harvested its young leaves in spring, boiling them into soups and stews that restored energy after long winters. Rich in iron, calcium, and vitamin C, nettles rebuilt strength, healed fatigue, and gave resilience to bodies worn down by labor. Healers praised nettles as medicine. They used them to cleanse the blood, ease arthritis, and calm fevers. Soldiers carried dried nettle leaves on campaigns, believing they could fight infections and keep wounds from festering. Even its sting was valued. Medieval healers used it to stimulate circulation, treating joint pain with what they called the fire of the plant. But nettles were more than food and medicine. Their fibers were spun into cloth, ropes, and nets, making them a resource for survival in both field and home. To medieval farmers, nettles were not weeds, they were lifelines. And here's the twist: nettles still grow today, often dismissed as pests. Yet hidden in plain sight, they remain one of the most nutrient-dense healing plants on Earth, a forgotten superfood that medieval farmers swore by, and modern science now rediscovers. Our seventh forgotten superfood was once the hidden strength of medieval diets, a humble seed that carried both nourishment and healing, trusted by farmers, healers, and even kings. This was hemp seed, long before controversy clouded its name. In the Middle Ages, hemp was not seen as forbidden. It was survival. Farmers grew it for food, medicine, and fiber, and its seeds were treasured as one of the most complete sources of nutrition nature had to offer. Packed with protein, omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, hemp seeds gave stamina to workers who labored from sunrise to sunset. They were ground into flour, mixed into breads, and boiled into porridges that kept hunger away during harsh winters. Healers praised hemp seeds as medicine. They used them to soothe inflammation, strengthen the heart, and restore energy to the weak. Some even believed hemp carried divine protection, a plant that could heal both body and spirit. But hemp was more than food. Its fibers were spun into ropes, sails, and cloth, making it essential for medieval trade and survival. To the farmer, hemp was not just a crop, it was a foundation of life. And here's the twist. Hemp seeds still grow today, often hidden behind stigma or dismissed as niche health food. Yet they remain one of the most nutrient-dense, versatile superfoods on Earth, a forgotten gift that medieval farmers swore by, and modern science now rediscovers. Our eighth forgotten superfood was once the golden grain of medieval fields. A cereal so rich in nutrition that farmers swore it gave them strength to endure the hardest winters. This was barley, the ancient grain that fed peasants, soldiers, and kings alike. Long before refined wheat dominated the table, barley was the staple that filled bowls with porridge, bread, and ale. Its resilience made it a farmer's ally, thriving in poor soil, enduring cold climates and producing harvests when other crops failed. Barley was more than food. It was medicine. Medieval healers used barley water to soothe fevers, cleanse the kidneys, and calm the stomach. Soldiers carried barley cakes on campaigns, knowing they could survive weeks on its dense nutrition. And monks brewed barley into ale, not just for drink, but as a source of calories and strength during fasting seasons. Rich in fiber, magnesium, and antioxidants, barley strengthened the heart, lowered fevers, and gave stamina to bodies worn down by endless toil. To medieval farmers, it was not just a grain, it was a lifeline, a symbol of endurance and survival. And here's the twist. Barley still grows today, often overshadowed by modern grains. Yet hidden in plain sight, it remains one of the most nutrient-dense, climate-resilient foods on Earth, a forgotten superfood that medieval farmers swore by, and modern science now rediscovers. Our ninth forgotten superfood was once the quiet strength of medieval diets, a grain so versatile it fed peasants, monks, and kings alike. This was rye, the dark grain that thrived where wheat could not. In the harsh soils of northern Europe, rye became the lifeline of farmers. Its bread was dense, hearty, and long-lasting, keeping families alive through brutal winters. Rich in fiber, magnesium, and antioxidants, rye strengthened the heart, calmed digestion, and gave stamina to bodies worn down by endless toil. Medieval healers praised rye for its ability to cleanse the blood and restore energy. Monasteries baked rye bread daily, believing it carried spiritual strength as well as physical nourishment. To the farmer, rye was not just food, it was survival, a grain that stood between hunger and hope. And here's the twist. Rye still grows today, often overshadowed by wheat. Yet hidden in plain sight, it remains one of the most nutrient-dense, climate-resilient grains on Earth, a forgotten superfood waiting to reclaim its place. Our 10th and final forgotten superfood was once the golden pulse of medieval kitchens, a humble legume that carried both nourishment and healing. This was chickpeas. Known in the Middle Ages as the poor man's meat, farmers boiled them into stews, roasted them for journeys, and ground them into pastes that sustained armies on the march. Rich in protein, iron, and fiber, chickpeas gave strength to workers, resilience to soldiers, and comfort to families during famine. Healers praised chickpeas as medicine. They used them to ease fevers, strengthen digestion, and restore vitality to the weak. Some even believed chickpeas carried mystical powers, protecting households from misfortune. To medieval farmers, they were more than food. They were a lifeline, And here's the twist. Chickpeas still grow today, often hidden in curries, hummus, and stews. Yet they remain one of the most nutrient-dense, versatile superfoods on Earth, a forgotten gift that medieval farmers swore by, and modern science now confirms. So here we are, 10 forgotten superfoods that medieval farmers trusted, swore by, and passed down through generations. Lamb's quarters, millet, parsnips, fava beans, flaxseed, nettles, hemp seeds, barley, rye, and chickpeas. Each one a story of survival, resilience, and wisdom. Each one still growing today, waiting for us to rediscover their power. Their lesson is clear. Nature has always held the keys to survival. These superfoods remind us that what we dismiss as weeds, what we overlook as old grains, what we forget as peasant food, may in fact be the miracles that sustain civilizations.